Today we're storming the Capitol
as part of a game.
So this is the Stone Nest, a venue in London, and it's currently hosting Fight for America.
It is a participatory art installation with a tabletop wargame at the centerpiece.
Just down there is a massive model of the US Capitol shipped over here from America.
And yes, you heard us right. This is a controversial satirical tabletop wargame of the January 6th insurrection in the USA.
It was built by the American Vicarious, a non-profit that creates content like this that grapples with ideas about what contemporary America is.
And like us, you might be wondering why it exists, and why is it in London? So we came down to participate in a game and to chat to the creators.
Side note, it is 32 degrees today. It's 32 degrees in London. It is boiling. There are 20 participants in total, playing as either the rioters or law enforcement, essentially reenacting the events of January 6th.
Complete with true-to-life interruptions from Trump that affected gameplay.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol.
Good luck.
May the best.
I volunteered to take the side of the rioters, and I was put in charge of the Proud Boys, where I'd be attempting to storm this entrance to the Capitol building. And similar to Warhammer, you also get hero pieces who provide buffs to units. So got Proud Boy, Enrique Tarrio there.
Fun fact about Enrique Tarrio, he is currently suing the US government for $100 million for violating his constitutional rights, I believe, as it related to January 6th.
Okay.
But he is the leader of the Proud Boys.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
The leader of the Proud Boys.
What an opportunity for
Okay,
you.
I know. The aim of the rioters was to find Mike Pence and to hang him. It was at this point, I'll admit, I started to feel a bit sick and not sure what I had signed up to.
Meanwhile, I was taking on the task of leading the DC Metropolitan Police in their mission to hold the line at any cost. I will also be having a specific member of the DC Metro Police to be playing as my character. I'll be playing as Commander Robert Glover from the DC Metro Police, who, again, real person who was there that day.
How are you feeling about playing as the Capitol Police as opposed to the rioters?
I was going to say, I'm feeling better about it than you are about playing an insurrectionist. But I have to say, obviously, I mean, it's a game that's meant to have emotionally kind of challenging beats to it. But so I'll be interested to see how that's navigated. Obviously, I've got the questions about police brutality, when to use force against protesters, against people trying to coup the Capitol.
The challenge was to include police officers that are no longer with us. That's something that we knew we needed to respect that sacrifice, but in the end we thought that not including them would do more disservice to their memory.
We will note here that Neal mentioned that the game was made with the support of some of the police officers present on the day.
Combat was essentially a roll-off between the teams. Each unit had a different value of dice, and your hero would add an extra dice, as well as there being one-time use cards that shook things up.
Literally one of the ones I've got is deploy tear gas. There's quite a lot of debate about when it's ethical to use that, so I guess that's a debate I'll be having. The very next one is discharge your service firearm, which is a very sort of legally friendly way of saying shoot someone.
Use your concealed firearm to fight for America.
And then it all kicked off.
Patriots and defenders, citizens of this great nation, one God to the fight for America.
Before playing, we were both asked to take our respective oaths. I swore allegiance to the Constitution and the rule of law, to defend everyone inside the Capitol building, whatever the cost. They made Izzy sing Proud of Your Boy, a deleted song from Disney's Aladdin.
I don't know it. You're in for a pleasant surprise.
Proud of your boy, and I'm proud of you boys, well done!
After that, the map of the Capitol was pulled apart to create 6 separate boards, and the game began. Fairly quickly, I realized that Izzy was having a way easier time of it. The sheer number of rioters was overwhelming, and I kept getting units pulled away to deal with bomb threats in other parts of the Capitol grounds. She was also being handed way more of those cards to use than I was, which I know is meant to represent the overwhelming odds police faced on the day. I'm still calling rigged. I did get a card for doing the YMCA at one point though, so I'll allow it. My first tactical blunder was when Izzie played a card allowing her to use a concealed firearm on one of my units, immediately removing it from the board.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
Then we got a discharge service fire. I retaliated by playing a card which fired my service weapon. Izzie fired back. I fired again. You get the picture.
Are you going to shoot back?
Yeah.
You're going to shoot back?
Yeah.
And then Izzie, who had started the whole thing, got another card because she finally decided to be the bigger person and stop shooting.
So you get a card as your reward for stop shooting.
Amazing. Violence
You started it as well.
Violence isn't the answer. That's all I'm saying.
Tell that to whoever pulled.
Maybe this is a lesson about the ethics of police brutality. Or maybe I should have volunteered to sing that stupid song at the start.
I'll step in here since Owen has gotten too mad to keep describing what happened, but to say it was one-sided would be an understatement. That initial gunfight had taken out a much bigger proportion of his available units than mine, leaving him with more gaps than a rundown high street. What was even better for me was that rioters from other tables started to move their units over to ours. Owen now had to contend with the combined Proud Boy QAnon assault. He did occasionally receive reinforcements in the form of riot police from inside the Capitol, and at one point a group of journalists.
The mainstream media having arrived on the scene gives you a 4-dice tactical unit to use.
These broadcast journalists, as it turns out, were incredibly powerful, taking down 2 of my units. Oh my god, they got to radicalize.
That's what I'm saying.
Is that really what the job of the media is? To provide a sane and rational voice in this world full of radical opinions and extremism? What a beautiful tale. What are you doing behind me?
Nothing.
I made sure to respect the independence and sanctity of the press as a member of it myself. They've got to go. They've got to go. I can't see any other...
I've never seen that before. Honest to God, that is...
This.
I want it on the record that Izzie has immediately chosen to attack the journalists when given the opportunity.
Now, despite some pretty lucky dice rolls from me, which did manage to remove a few rioters from the board, I had long since realized that this was a losing battle from the start.
11-9. And you've got 4.
Yeah. Like the police officers on the day described, this had quickly become a case of how long could I delay the rioters from reaching the inside of the Capitol building. And less than 10 minutes before the end of the game...
Finally, under my guidance, the Proud Boys had breached the Capitol. I had gotten Owen down to a single unit of riot police left to guard the doors with their lives, and I was about to send a whole load of units into the building when...
Attention, patriots and defenders! The National Guard has arrived!
We then had to play the final minigame, finding Mike Pence inside a map of the Capitol building. Then came the twist. Every unit that got into the building got the rioters a dice. Each card that we still had on us was counted, and for each one we had, we received 1 die. Izzie obviously had a lot more than I did. We all rolled our dice as one big group, and each team's rolls were counted. Whoever ended up with the bigger number in total was the winner of the day.
It was the red team. The insurrectionists had successfully stormed the Capitol and found Mike Pence, and to be honest, incredibly disturbingly, the group voted pretty heavily in favour of hanging him, even though we were offered the chance to spare his life.
We incentivize you to win the game. We are pushing people to make ethical and moral choices that are in conflict with themselves.
I can't say it felt nice. It was then, of course, that we were hit with real-life clips of what actually happened on January 6th, 2021. They had documented each of the clashes that we had played out throughout the last few hours. All of the insurrectionists storming separate parts of the Capitol, injuring police officers and marching through the halls, many of them with the real-life intent to commit violence.
This, I've heard say, was the most well-recorded criminal act in human history.
I think it is important in what we're doing to tell an accurate history of what that day was. It was a violent insurrection, and that history is actively being rewritten as we speak. On the president's first day in office, he chose to pardon or commute the sentences of everyone who participated in that act of violence. I believe the next time we do the piece will be on the 5th anniversary of the insurrection in Washington, D.C. The fact that one could be criticized for being critical of one's government is a new phenomenon in America. And so we're not sure how it will be received if we do it in D.C. That was one of the reasons why we decided to premiere it here in the UK.
When you were just talking about recent political violence,
I was just curious whether that makes you nervous at all about like bringing it back to States.
Since we arrived in London, there were elected officials assassinated in their homes in Minneapolis, their families as well. The governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, had his home firebombed. It's not something that we thought we would have to navigate when we started working on this project 2 years ago, but clearly it has become a real concern, and we're exploring ways to navigate that challenge.